The Gupta Empire was one of the most important in Indian history. Their reign over northern India leading to the advancements of science, mathematics, art, religion, and philosophy. Of those, these are the top 10 remarkable moments from the Gupta Empire. And hey, if you think you know something that belongs on this list, please let us know in the comments below. Number 10. Chandragupta I's marriage to Kumara Devi. One of the first major acts of the Gupta Empire was certainly the first to cement its authority. As Chandragupta I married the Licchavi princess Kumara Devi, he solidified relations between Nepal and India, creating a unique position at the time that allowed for the Gupta's coming expansion. It's theorized that this may not have been a happy marriage, as numismatist John Allen implies that it was a condition of a peace treaty with the Licchavi, which Manu Samhita claims were impure in the Gupta's eyes. Despite that, Chandragupta and Kumara Devi are featured prominently on the coins of the time, which was likely a display of power. Number 9. Samudragupta. Following Chandragupta's rule came the rule of Samudragupta, the child of the previous union. Compared to his father, Samudragupta expanded the empire's borders with gusto, to the point where scholars frequently refer to him as the Napoleon of India. Not only that, but a number of recordings describe him as an accomplished artist and a kind ruler who deeply cared for the poor. A great number of coins were minted in his name, featuring him in various poses, and likely cemented him as a classical Indian historical hero, reinstating the royal families of those who lost their kingdoms, whether by his hand or not, it didn't matter. Number 8. Religious tolerance. But Samudragupta was not just a man of the people, he was a man deeply involved with religion. An active worshipper of Vishnu, many records of his achievements have been gleaned from the records of him installing idols to his god in the temples of cities that he'd conquered. That being said, he was known to be extremely religiously tolerant, allowing and actively encouraging other practitioners to worship in his kingdom. One of Samudragupta's favorite rituals was the ritual of Ashvamedha, a ritual where a horse would be released by the king's warriors and left to wander for a year. If the horse entered any rival territory, they could challenge the warriors accompanying the horse. If the horse couldn't be captured or killed within a year, it would be returned to the capital and sacrificed, and the king declared as the sovereign. Number 7. Art peak. I have to stop talking about Samudragupta, but this is a really good reason to. The Gupta Empire was an absolute golden age, in particular for art. Sculpture was easily at its finest here. Just look at the Buddha of the Mathura style. Carved from pink sandstone, these sculptures are so insanely detailed for the material that they're working with. Like, look at the folds on the fabric, oh my god. Another piece that stands out is the terracotta depiction of Krishna battling Keshi, and absolutely stunning work of action and motion. Not only were the sculptures incredible, but the paintings were fascinating as well, such as the ones from the Ajanta caves, works of dry fresco. Only a handful of these caves have survived time's cruelty, but the ones that have are remarkable indeed. Number 6. The Allahabad Pillar. One of the most important pieces of Indian architecture, the Allahabad Pillar is a massive stone where the exploits of numerous Indian rulers have been inscribed. Constructed from stone, the pillar is thought to have been erected in the 3rd century by the Ashoka, but carries an absolutely staggering amount of history etched onto its surface. Many of the original inscriptions have been lost to time and weather, but many more have survived, least of all the verses detailing the exploits of our boy, Samudragupta. Every single thing that we know about the Gupta can either be gleaned from excavating coins from the time, the documentation of visiting foreign elements, but the majority of it is found here. Relaying all of his exploits would take far too long, as Samudragupta conquered well over 20 kingdoms during his reign, inscribing verses dedicated to them on the Allahabad Pillar. Number 5. The Scholars. The Gupta Empire was home to a great deal of scholars, notably Varahamihira and Aryabhata. A great deal of accomplishments that are traditionally claimed to have been made by European scientists during the Renaissance were actually made within the Gupta Empire. This includes the the theory of Earth rotating on an axis, the identification of 0 as a number, and the original development of chess, known at the time as Chaturanga. We all thought that the Romans were the first to invent the 7-day week, right? Wrong, bucko. The concept actually appeared within the Gupta first, and was likely carried over by travelers. Some Euro dude discovered that the Earth was round, right? Wrong, babe. That was all Aryabhata. And the dude even figured out how eclipses worked while everyone else was just freaking out that the sun had disappeared or some nonsense like that. Number 4. Kumaragupta's founding of Nalanda University. While originally beginning life as a Buddhist monastery, Nalanda's history begins with its founding at the hands of Kumaragupta as a sort of passion project. This was gleaned from a monarch seal that was found on site, identifying Shakraditya, another name for the emperor of the time. He was not the only contributor named, as a great deal of his successors expanded and grew the university, allowing for studies of a mass and great diversity. This further implies the extreme religious tolerance of the community, going so far as to allow the inscription of multiple different religions' deities on their walls. Number 3. Feudatories. As we start to draw to the closing of this list, we must begin to discuss the factors that led to the Gupta Empire's eventual downfall. While we'll get into the specifics later, when the Gupta Empire began to lose both money and territory, one of the unique elements was the way in which the empire actually dissolved. Where one might have reigned again, without the guiding hands of the Guptas, India was once more dissolved into numerous kingdoms. Whether the empire was a good place to live remains to be seen, but the most important thing to understand was the way in which it acted as a glue to hold everything together. Without the guiding leadership of the Guptas, the old management became new once more, and things resettled to the way that they'd been 2 centuries prior. As much as things may be permanent, they can just so easily fall apart. Number 2. The Hun invasion. Oh lord, the Huns. There's a lot to talk about with them, but in regards to the Gupta Empire, their impact was quite severe. The Alkan Huns, led by Tramana and Mihirakula, invaded, managing to take nearly half of the Gupta's northwestern half by the 20th year of their invasion. It would take another 28 years for a grand total of 48 for the Alkan Huns to finally be repelled by King Yahodharman. The effects of this prolonged conflict saw the Gupta's power having been seriously diminished. Everything they built had just begun to collapse, from religion to finances. Even if the Huns didn't take the empire in conquest, they most certainly ensured its downfall. Number 1. The fall. While the socioeconomic downturn instigated by the Huns was long considered to be the final nail in the coffin for the Guptas, recent findings have begun to determine that there may have been another reason. In 2019, the archaeologist Shankar Sharma discovered evidence that implicates the regions of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh were struck with apocalyptic flooding, shown by silt deposits with depths from 0.6 to 2.5 meters. Another piece of evidence points to 2 accounts of Chinese pilgrims which occurred 200 years apart from one another, one detailing the beauty of the region, and the other commenting on the horror of seeing so many destroyed temples. While the Huns' invasion certainly would have killed the Gupta Empire eventually, this flood was likely the final impact that ensured their demise. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.